Hi, everybody. I'm your fill-in host today for the Windows 365 AMA. I'm Colby Hanley, and I'm joined by my other teammates today. So I'll pass it off to them to introduce themselves as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andre Radinger. I'm a program manager on Microsoft Windows 365 team and AVD team, and working on third-party integrations for Windows 365 and AVD.
Hey all, Curtis Son. I'm also a product manager in our Windows 365 customer acceleration team. So I work with our customers to help unblock them to get them moving.
Hi everyone, my name is Femade Bayo. I'm PM on the Windows 365 team, responsible for enterprise networking for both Windows 365 and AVD, and that includes our Microsoft hosted network and our Azure Network Connections.
Awesome. So we're excited to have introduced ourselves and to be here with everybody today. We're happy to answer any and all questions that we possibly can for everybody. And so we'll get started as your questions are coming through. Please do send whatever you have to ask today for us, but we can get started talking about a topic with Femi. Femi, can you tell us a bit more about adding more Azure Network Connections to a Windows 365 enterprise provisioning policy?
Sure, Kobe, thanks. So basically, one of the things we do today when we're setting up our Azure Network Connection is that you have your Azure Network Connection as part of your bring your own network infrastructure, and once you do that, you can kind of set up your Azure Network Connection and in order to provision your cloud PC. And one of the feedback we've heard from customers was that today sometimes they might have capacity constraint where a specific Azure Network Connection they're trying to deploy to a specific region they might run out of capacity, right? Might not work. So one of the feedback was that they would still like to provision an Azure Network Connection in another region in case that specific region they're trying to provision their cloud PC fails. So what we did was that we took feedback and we provided them an option where once they're creating the Azure Network Connection, either for an hybrid Azure ADJ or Azure ADJ, they could actually select an alternative region, basically an alternative ANC. So basically they have the first right to deploy to a specific region, but they also have a backup ANC region where in case that region fails because of capacity constraint, they can fall over to the new region where they could go ahead and provision their cloud PC. And this has really helped a lot because we have customers where they have a lot of Azure Network Connection set up, or they have a lot of cloud PC regions they're trying to provision, but because it's constrained in a specific region, they kind of just give up and wait to when they have capacity in that specific region. But what we've done is that we provided them an option to be able to have a fallover region when that specific region is out of constraint, and they could go ahead and provision their cloud PC so that way they're not blocked from provisioning, which is very critical as we upscale and as we onboard our customers to cloud PC. We want to ensure that they do not have issues provisioning and onboarding their cloud PC.
Yeah, I've told customers that one way to think about it is it increases your success rate for provisioning cloud PCs from 99 to like 99.8% success. Just a little more assurance.
Exactly.
For sure, yeah, that's awesome. Just making our customers more resilient and resilient against disasters and such. And is that available today in MEM for our customers, Femi?
Yes. We just rolled it out the last release, so they could go ahead and try it.
Awesome. Okay, thanks for sharing with us. I'm gonna pass it over to Andre for a couple of announcements here that are super exciting as well. So we have first and foremost Citrix HDX Plus support that was generally available. That we had that announcement recently, and then Andre, if you can also talk about the private preview for VMware integration that we have going on, both super exciting third-party integrations.
Absolutely, thank you, Colby. Yes, we released made publicly available integration between Windows 365 and Citrix HDX Plus for Windows 365 on February 22nd. We were in a public preview for a few months before that. What it means for customers, it means that customers who are on Citrix infrastructure can now easily keep using their existing Citrix infrastructure and connect to their Windows 365 cloud PCs. The whole integration is done to make it as seamless and as easy as possible for both IT admins enabling that integration and end users as well. So for IT admins, basically all they need to do is enable Citrix connector in Intune, and then in Citrix Cloud, connect to Windows 365 service using their Intune credentials, and just assign HDX Plus licenses to their users. And everything else is done behind the scenes on behalf of customers and behalf of IT admin. The existing or previously provisioned cloud PCs will automatically get HDX agent installed to their cloud PCs. And from that point on, users will connect to Citrix infrastructure and Citrix gateway using HDX protocol instead of RDP protocol, keeping all the benefits and all the goodies that they're used to from Citrix and benefits that HDX protocol provides. The previously provisioned cloud PCs will also be able to, if you have cloud PCs that you were using going through IWP, Windows 365.microsoft.com, you'll be able to go that route as well. It'll just enable you to connect through Citrix Workspace app from there, and you'll be able to use your cloud PCs in the same way you were using them before. So this is now generally available, and HDX licenses are part of various Citrix DAS packages, as you can see all about licensing and packages available on Citrix website with our licensing. Colby also mentioned that we started the private preview for VMware. So in November last year, we announced our partnership with VMware and working on integration with VMware Horizon in the same way that we implemented the Citrix integration. So this is currently in the excuse me, in the private preview, and any customers interested to join the private preview to test it in this very early stage. There's a lot of manual setup right now, but we're working towards the same easiness and the same concept as I described for Citrix. So it'll be very easy for customers and IT admins to enable that integration and to use VMware infrastructure. Horizon Cloud will be obviously management console for managing VMware licenses, and you'll be able to use Blast Protocol connecting through Horizon through the VMware gateway in that process. So I'm excited to have some of you guys potentially interested in that and joining our private preview. You can ping me directly, or through your Citrix account, through your VMware account, you can ping VMware folks as well to give it a go, give it a try.
Great. Thanks, Andre. Super exciting examples of just meeting our customers right where they are with exactly what they need to access their Windows 365 cloud PCs. We have another topic I wanted to have Curtis talk about a little bit if we could, which was the new ability to create on-demand cloud PC restore points and copy them to an Azure storage account. So Curtis, take it away.
Yeah, you bet. So today, right, you can automatically have restore points set up. It's actually up to 14, and it can go back to either a few hours ago or even a few weeks ago. Now you could just click on one of those and share it to provide someone else access to it if you'd like, or if you'd like to view an offline copy. So instead of restoring it live for the person who's using it, you could just make a copy of that VHD and do some other work with it if you'd like. A great use case for it, I'm working with a very large healthcare customer, and they need to make a snapshot or retain a copy of everyone's cloud PC once they leave the company. And many of their targets or their audience for these cloud PCs are non-employees or contractors compliance reasons they need to do it. So they've automated a process, not just in the Intune admin console, but via our Graph API. When someone removes a license from a Windows 365 license, they automatically trigger creating a restore point and copying it to the storage account. It's pretty neat.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Curtis, so much for that explanation. And then I will actually just make a brief announcement about our Cloud PC utilization report that we have available in MEM for Windows 365 Enterprise. So just want to make sure that anybody watching this AMA is aware that we have that report available in preview. So if you go into MEM, you go to all devices, you go to overview, you'll see a Cloud PC performance tab now. Then you can click that and click the button for the report where it can show you a low utilization of your Cloud PC licenses. So this just helps you as customers to make sure that your licenses are assigned to active users who are meaningfully using those Cloud PCs. And so by reviewing the Cloud PCs that do have low usage in that report, you can then decide as an admin if a Windows 365 license would be better served for other users in your tenant who might use those resources more often. So it's all about us giving you the richness in data and reporting that serves you best to make sure that you understand how and when exactly your users are using those Cloud PCs. So we're excited to continue offering more and more reporting. And this Cloud PC utilization report is something we're really excited about. So feel free to go to our docs for Windows 365 to learn more there. But it looks like we have, and we put the ak.ms, the quick link there for everybody to access. And so we have the first question that has come through. And so this question is there any way to assign static IP addresses to a Windows 365 Enterprise Cloud PC? Otherwise, is there any scenario that can be set up to be able to accomplish this? We need to be able to have the internet traffic from the Cloud PCs go out of a specific external IP address if possible. Do we have any of our teammates here today that are able to answer that question?
So there's two things there, right? So I'll take the second one first, is you can totally have control about where your Cloud PC traffic goes, right? So you can create your own Azure Virtual Network and define your subnet for which, your Cloud PCs will get an address within that subnet. And then you can also configure the routing, right? So you can make sure that it goes to a firewall first before it egresses out to the internet. You can make sure some traffic goes to a third-party inspection device, while Windows 365 required traffic goes directly to the service. So we have those options, and I'd like to say you can make the network traffic dance however you need to. And we do have documentation that says, hey, we recommend these endpoints required for Windows 365 have direct connectivity from your Cloud PCs to the required endpoints, rather than hairpinning them back to maybe your on-prem environment and then out to the internet through there.
Awesome, thanks, Curtis.
And Kobe, if you don't mind, I can just add a little bit of color to that too.
Yeah.
So great answer, Curtis. So one of the things we've been also looking at is the effort to have what we call a FQDN tag. And basically, one of the issues today is that obviously customers have come to us to say, hey, their required endpoints for Microsoft for Windows 365 is basically a list of endpoints that they have to manually enter and list, right? So what we decided to do was to create an FQDN tag. And what that means is that grouping the FQDN tag other specific rules, so that when you're about to set up your Cloud PC and list your endpoints, you have that specific tag that all the required FQDN URLs are under that tag, and you can use that to kind of route traffic via your VNet. So something we're working on, and actually we're looking to deploy, have it sometime next release, which is sometime next month. We're working on documentation now and finalizing a couple of things, but as of starting next month, you'll be able to, as part of your Azure setup, you'll be able to definitely define your FQDN, Windows 365 FQDN tags, where all the required URLs will be under that specific tag, and you can kind of whitelist it easier rather than having to manually enter every specific URL for your VNet that's required for Windows 365.
Awesome. Thanks both. So we have our next question that's come through, and I'll hand it off to Curtis to answer it. But somebody was wondering what the time frame is for Windows 11 Cloud PC integration to be complete and kind of rolled out publicly here.
So, yeah, no problem. So I hope I'm interpreting this question directly or accurately. So today, you can deploy our gallery images with Windows 11 21H2 and 22H2. So I think, if I'm understanding the question, already got the integration there, right? So you can select a Windows 10 gallery image, a Windows 11 gallery image, either with or without the Microsoft 365 apps. If that's not the question you meant to ask, feel free to reword it. We'll take it again.
Yeah, we do also have the Windows 365 app, of course. So you can download that from the Microsoft Store, and that's actually an announcement that we had go live as part of our February moment blog. And so the Windows 365 app is now GA. So you can download that from the Microsoft Store, however you'd like. So that's another way that you can have quick access to your cloud PC that uses Windows 11 if you'd like. And you can have that app directly downloaded to your local machine if your local machine is also running Windows 11 or 10. And we have more features coming to make these experiences easier and easier to use on the end user side. So look out for more innovation there. But I think I'll leave that there for now. And so, yeah, that actually tied in great to the other announcement that we had today, which was that our Windows 365 app is GA. We're super excited about that. So not only can you have your end users access their cloud PCs from the Windows 365 web portal on the web browser and any device that they're using, you can now have them access it from our Windows 365 Windows native app. And per usual, your users can still access it from the remote desktop app if they prefer to do so. So we're very excited about that GA and highly recommend testing out that app for yourself. Yeah. It looks like we have another question that just came through. So this one now is, how can I trigger an email to inform the end user when the cloud PC is provisioned and ready to use?
Yeah, I could take that. So there's basically a today answer and a tomorrow answer. So the tomorrow answer is, yes, we're working on it. So then you could get an email and you can set up, the idea is to set up in the Intune admin portal to send those emails. Doesn't exist today. I don't think we have it on our roadmap at this point. We have had other customers ask for this. And so one of the things that a large customer has done, and they're very comfortable and familiar with using the Microsoft Graph and the API methods. So what they've done is they've created their own method to determine, hey, when a cloud PC goes into the status of provisioned, then they send their own notifications. And that's the way they've addressed that need before it becomes available in the admin portal.
Awesome. Yeah, love hearing about customers, stitch together solutions like that suit their needs as well. I will say that we are thinking about this from the kind of end user side as well, in terms of our portal experiences too. And And so we're investigating here, nothing concrete to update anybody with yet in terms of releases, but we're thinking about how to expose statuses like, hey, this device is provisioning for you. If your end user goes to access it in the web portal, maybe a little bit early because they didn't realize that it was still provisioning. So that's just an effort, like these emails, for us to give as much context to our end users as possible. Also, I did not mention earlier, but I am on our Windows 365 end user team, and I work on NDA new releases of new editions of the service. So,
Kobe, can I just add a little bit of just some color to that? So I, definitely great answer, Curtis and Kobe. I know definitely we're not there yet in terms of, that specific customers getting a specific alert when their cloud PC is finished provisioning. But one thing we did, which we launched about maybe probably 4 months ago now, where we have the capability to provide IT admin alerts. So basically, my IT admins today, where if a cloud PC has an issue, or an Azure Network Connection related issue, or the provisioning policy has an issue, one thing we did today was to provide the IT admin an option to really decide what specific alerts they want to get specific to a specific issue with their cloud PC. So today they can actually go to the MEM portal and actually create an alert for a specific Azure Network Connection issue, a specific image issue, a specific provisioning policy issue, where they can get aware of what that issue is and they can go address it before it becomes a problem. So something we've done, and we're looking to continue integrating other cloud PC failure or failure points to make sure that we can catch those issues early, and the IT admin can understand what that issue is before it becomes a big problem for them.
Awesome.
By the way, Femi said something that is a problem that I always have with is, I think I heard MEM portal, right? As of, I can't remember, a few weeks ago, it's now the Intune portal, which I have a hard time remembering. And honestly, I'm so glad I didn't say that first. But yeah, so I have to force myself. No, that's not true. I have to be very aware of saying Intune rather than
portal. Yes. I'll get there. I think it's just
yeah. Well, we're all human, and that's part of the problem, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely said MEM portal earlier too, so that's a great reminder for all of us.
Andre, you're next. Make sure you say Intune, okay?
Intune. I have to remember that, and I'm trying to. I'm sure I do. I do MEM sometimes, but I think I'm getting much closer to like 100% Intune. Always Intune.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it's a mix. Yeah.
We did get a roadmap question about Windows 365 boot to cloud PC, whether there's any further developments for that feature. So what I will say here is that we are looking forward to getting Alina and or Christian onto the AMA sometime soon to talk publicly about developments there for boot to cloud PC. But for now, we are in development on a couple of efforts there to enable boot further for the service. So we do not have any other public announcements there. Really exciting work stream, though. Do we have anything else from any of your worlds that you would want to announce or talk about? Andre, are there any kind of pain points that you've seen so far that you all have helped customers with any of those third-party integrations, or anything you want to talk about there?
Yeah, some interesting chats. We had a few of our customers regarding Citrix integration. When we showed it to them, it was that they were very interested in that, and they were actually very delighted how easy and simple it is to make that integration work. One of the very frequent questions was how much kind of infrastructure work we have to do to prepare everything to work, to set up gateways, to set up infrastructure, backend services, that kind of stuff. But the good thing here is that there's really nothing for customers or admins actually to do here. So there's no setting up any new gateways, any new connectors. Everything is automatically set up already. And basically, when we started this project over a year ago now, our key goal was simplicity. And the key goal was to make it as simple as possible without adding any additional overhead to admins, to actually simplify their work. And once we show that when we show that kind of integration part to customers, they're really delighted how simple and easy it is to do. There are many advantages of using HDX protocol. There are some advanced features that they have. There's a great multimedia support, low bandwidth environment that it performs really great. So, and there are a lot of legacy customers, to be honest, that really want to make sure that they actually stick with their existing investment and infrastructure, but at the same time to leverage all the benefits and simplicity of Windows 365 that we offer, and to combine these two together. This was a really crucial kind of integration for them, and they really wanted to make sure that their previous investments can be combined with their next investments, and to take a best of both worlds. Let's put it together. So, and we also have a lot of customers, since VMware is also a very important player in a picture, to make sure that this is going to work for VMware. So this is coming next as well, and we're excited to get that on board as well pretty soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Andre. And we have, in the meantime, another question that has come through for Femi. So they said, Femi, you mentioned adding Azure Network Connections to a provisioning policy. What does this actually mean? What does this do for us as customers? And just making sure that everybody knows that if you hear a reference to ANCs, we're talking about Azure Network Connections for Windows 365. So Femi, if you could go ahead.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
I'm sorry. Thanks. I think we use a lot of acronyms for obviously within the team, but ANC actually means Azure Network Connection. And in terms of your question, so today when you set up when you're about to deploy Cloud PC, you have two network deployment options. One is the Microsoft hosted network, and one is the Azure Network Connection. And that option is when you bring in your own network and your own infrastructure. So we have customers today that bring their own network and they want to have their own setup, right? They don't want to use our traditional simple Microsoft hosted network deployment. So today, when you're about to set up provision policy, you have an option in that policy to select a Microsoft hosted network deployment option, or you can also set up a Azure Network Connection, which is an option where you bring your own network infrastructure, and you can kind of provision your own, set up your own VNet, set up your own domain controller, and route your own device, route your own traffic. And what that means is, in terms of, referring back to the alternative ANC that I talked about, was because like we have issues where sometimes there's a capacity constraint with a specific region. With your Azure Network Connection, as you set it up, you have an option to deploy to a specific region. And what we really want to do is that to provide you that safe net where if a specific region is at capacity or if a specific region fails over, you can provision in another region. So you can add an alternative region to your ANC setup. And that way, if that region is full, then you can fall back. So let's say I add to US West, right, as my first region. My backup region might be US East, right? So I have that backup region, and that way, if that first region fails, I can provision in the second region, and that way I don't have to wait, and I don't have to block my provisioning to provision my Cloud PC. So that what means. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but if it doesn't, let me know, and I can provide more context.
Great, thanks for the explanation, Femi. Really quickly, I'll make another little fun announcement on the end user side. So all of you know that this is available for your end users coming soon. So it's not available yet in their end user portal on the web browser for Windows 365, but it's coming very soon in the next month or so. So we are going to have dark mode enabled for our end user portal. And you may think naturally, of course, we would have a dark mode enabled, but it takes us a little bit of engineering effort. We want to make sure that everything is, of course, accessible because that is first and foremost to us, especially in our end user experiences. So we just need to make sure that everything is high contrast so that we're not making the portal unusable for anybody with possibly vision handicaps or accessibility issues like that. So now your end users can go to the settings button and they can go ahead and configure any of the other settings that they would like that they've already had in the end user portal. And now they can go ahead and toggle dark mode on and off as well. So I know that myself and our other teammate, my manager Sandeep, and his manager Phil, we all love dark mode. So we're super excited to see it in there. We no longer have to get blinded by the white screen of the end user portal when we have all the rest of everything on our laptops dark mode enabled. So wanted to mention that here. You access the end user portal also, just as a reminder, by going to windows365.microsoft.com.
Did you know, and this was communicated to me, that dark mode actually ends up emitting less carbon on your monitors, right? Because there's less energy that's used by your monitors, less carbon emissions. It's better for a sustainability approach, right? So it was recommended to me months ago, when you're creating new PowerPoint slides, for example, use a dark background, not a default white background. Again, some people really love the dark mode from an accessibility perspective. It also makes it, some people think it's easier to view. Also from a sustainability point of view, it's actually better for the environment. Minimally, but if you do it enough, right, then it actually becomes impactful.
Awesome.
That's a great info. Thanks, Curtis. That's good to know. Yeah, definitely. But it makes sense.
By the way, I don't always use dark mode for my PowerPoint slides, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, I'd have to work on that as well. A great little fun fact. I don't think that we were thinking about that exactly as we were building out the dark mode, but we love to hear about fun facts and extra little positive impacts of your feature work. So that's lovely. So yeah, we do have a lot of richness that is coming or has come, during this calendar year to our end users. As we're continuously making improvements to the end user portal and adding things like dark mode, just because we've built it out and that was the initial portal experience that we had for our customers doesn't mean that we're not continuously adding to it. And then we, of course, have the Windows 365 app, and we're working on things like boot to cloud that just make it as easy as possible for your end users to access their cloud PCs. We're really excited to be continuously improving not only for you all as administrators more in the Intune portal to get more third-party integrations, and make sure that we have a thriving partner ecosystem, but then also, of course, making sure that our end user experience is as easy as just opening a physical laptop and accessing the compute that you need to do your job. And so, we're also constantly thinking about new types of end users and new customers. And that's something that I work on. I'll keep that a little bit vague, but we want to, bring Windows 365 to as much of the world that needs it as possible to make sure that people just stay, efficient, they stay productive, and they continue to love Windows in all of its forms.
You just reminded me of one thing. You mentioned the Windows 365 app and Intune. All right, not MEM. Actually, I was working with others on your team, and you mentioned Sandeep. Did you know? Well, hold on. Let me back up. The Windows 365 app, I think Colby mentioned earlier, you can download it and access it through the Microsoft Store. You can also deploy it via Intune, right? There's an app type that allows you to deploy store apps. The reason that's important is in some enterprise environments, the IT groups will block access to the Microsoft Store, right? There's a bunch of consumer apps, and IT admins may not want their employees to download those. The Windows 365 app, the architecture gets all its updates through the store, right? That's how we keep it always up to date. If you deploy it via Intune and you have a policy setting to block access to the store, the updates still work, right? The way the architecture works, it doesn't go through the UI store directly. It accesses it in the back end. So even if you have the policy setting, block access to the store, you can still deploy and update the Windows 365 app. That was just recently discovered internally, and we're actually coming out with documentation in the next few weeks that makes that clear. And a caveat there is if you're in an environment where they block access to the store at the network level, right? Then you're blocked, right? If it's, if you put a barrier in front, you can't get there. So block it via policy, not a problem. Block it at the network level, then you won't be able to install or update the Windows 365 app.
And since we're talking about Windows 365 app a lot here, I just wanted to mention in context of third-party integrations and Citrix specifically, since it's GA right now. At this point, Windows 365 app only supports RDP protocol and RDP connection. Now, for Citrix integration, we actually block, or we don't, I shouldn't say we block because we don't block, but we don't allow RDP connections, incoming connections, because we want to make sure that all Citrix policies and security assignments are actually in place and followed and enforced. So once you have Citrix Provision Cloud PC, you have to go Citrix HDX route rather than RDP. We still do allow enable RDP for troubleshooting, but it has to be explicitly enabled through Intune, right? And basically, IT admin has to allow specific local user to go through RDP, and there's just in case that there's problem with HDX connection. So that's saying that Windows 65 app only supports RDP today. We have our backlog at this point to work on the integration with that, so that to kind of unify the user experience and to make it consistent with the rest of the ecosystem. But just wanted to make sure that it's understandable that right now it's not there. It needs to go through either end user web portal, windows65.microsoft.com, or directly through Citrix Workspace app, whether it's a web app or native app. But these are the only ways right now until we actually enable integration through Windows 365 native app to work on.
Awesome. Thanks for the call out, Andre. That was great. And I'll add one more thing here. In that if your end users are going into the Windows 365 web portal and they decide that they want to download the Windows 365 app because they would prefer to use it to access their cloud PCs, we also give the end users themselves the ability to click a download link from the end user portal, just making it as easy as possible. That just says, hey, feel free to download the Windows 365 app from here. And we're also working on a drop-down option that is a direct launch from the end user portal to the Windows 365 app. We don't have that prepared yet, but it's in development. So figured I would mention it. And we can get on to a couple more questions. So the next question that we have here is, how can I see what region the Windows 365 Cloud PC is deployed into? I would expect to be able to see this from the All Cloud PCs view or when I click into the Cloud PC itself, but I can't find anywhere it shows this information. So Femi or Curtis, do either of you want to take that?
Sure, I can take that. So you can see once you set up your Azure Network Connection, as part of that, you can, once you go to the Azure Network Connection tab, you can see the specific region your Azure Network Connection is deployed in. And this directly correlates with the region your Cloud PC is deployed in. But in terms of a specific thing on the all Cloud PC, all provisioning kind of filter list, I don't think we provide that option there today for you to see. To see what region your Cloud PC is provisioned in.
It's not visible in. Oh, sorry, Curtis.
Oh, sorry. I was going to add on to what Femi said. One trick I've learned, and Femi said, yeah, there's like one level of abstraction from the Cloud PC and what region it's in, and that's defined in the provisioning policy and or the Azure Network Connection. So in the all Cloud PCs view, you see the provisioning policy column and the Azure Network Connection column. So my trick, because I had the exact same concern, where is my Cloud PC from a region perspective? I've put the region where my Azure Network Connection and my provisioning policy is, in case I'm using the Microsoft hosted network. I put the region in there. So then I can sort by the provisioning policy column or the Azure Network Connection column and then see, hey, here's all the Cloud PCs here. So it kind of fills in the gaps, but it's not perfect, but it just helps, bridge that one level of abstraction. But you're correct. There's a columns option where you can add or remove certain columns in that view, but region is not one of those columns because it's not tied to the Cloud PC. It's tied to the policy or Azure Network Connection.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly what I wanted to say. Actually, for the provisioning policy. No, that's fine. That's great. So not necessarily naming provisioning policy by the region, but you can see the provisioning policy in all Cloud PCs view, and then from there you can actually go to the provisioning policy itself, and then even if you don't have it in the naming itself, you can go to provision policy and actually see there where exactly is this provisioning policy pointing to. So that is your region there as well. Yeah, that's one trick, as Curtis said, that we can use to actually learn more about the region for each individual Cloud PC. But actually, it'll tell you for the whole provisioning policy where all Cloud PCs from that particular provisioning policy are provisioned into. So that's easy way to find out if you kind of sort by provisioning policy or want to do other way. I hope that helps answering that question.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, everybody. We got a nice, thorough answer there from everybody here. We have one more question, which just came through, which is, can I restrict copy and paste from the Cloud PC to the local PC? And so that is a yes. You should be able to restrict, I believe. Yeah, you should be able to restrict copy and paste. So depending on whether you want your users to be able to do that or you don't want them to be able to do that. Yeah, we have that capability available.
Yeah, that can be done, let's see, via an Intune configuration policy or a group policy setting. And you can do those redirection restrictions. And you would apply that policy to the Cloud PC or Cloud PCs itself. And that would restrict, like you said, copy paste. You could do restrict storage options like USB storage in case you want to have that level of protection as well.
Yeah, and then the UI just would not show up for your end users, asking them whether they want to, or like in their redirection settings, when the connection experience is starting up, they would just not be asked whether they want to be able to copy and paste and different things like that. So yeah, easy. You just go into Intune and configure that.
So Andre and Femi, as you were talking, I was just going into our Graph Explorer, right, about the region question, right? It's one level of abstraction. I wanted to see, hey, if we do it via graph, can we get that? And still no, right? A Cloud PC, you can see the provisioning policy and the Azure Network Connection you're tied to. But as Andre said, that those two objects will tell you what region it's in. So that's why I use the naming trick.
Oh, go ahead, Andre.
No, actually, I just wanted to something that Curtis mentioned about manipulating columns that you can see in all cloud PCs view in context of potentially adding region or something. Just clarify that it's not easy to do because we don't have that object there. But I just wanted to mention in context of third-party integrations and Citrix today and VMware tomorrow, there is a new column that's fairly new feature. So I wanted to point it out that in columns, when you go and select columns to see what columns you want to show or hide in all cloud PCs view, there is a new column called third-party connector, which enables IT admin to in Intune go and add that column and actually very easily see what cloud PCs in that tenant are provisioned with a third-party connector. Again, it's just Citrix today versus native RDP cloud PC. So there also another thing I wanted to point out is that you don't have to move the whole tenant to Citrix. Once you establish connection, you can have kind of mix and match. So you can have a subset of your users move to Citrix and subset of your users left on RDP. And then it's important for you to see, as an IT admin, to see which users are on which connector, so or on which protocol. So that way, enabling that column as a visible in all cloud PCs view, you can easily identify cloud PCs which are RDP cloud PCs versus Citrix or eventually VMware, so third-party connector. So just wanted to point out that this is really possible. And one more thing, since I'm talking about provisioning with Citrix, is that or with third-party connectors, is that the provisioning is done on the user base, not on the machine base. So once you assign Citrix HDX license to a user in Citrix Cloud, and if that user has multiple cloud PCs, that specific AD user has multiple cloud PCs assigned to them, all of their cloud PCs will become Citrix cloud PCs for that particular user. So it is not like for individual users you can select which cloud PCs. No, it doesn't work that way. All cloud PCs for specific users will get Citrix agent installed and will become Citrix provisioned cloud PCs from that point on, right? So just wanted to make sure that I pointed out and make it clear for all interested people on the call and potential customers.
You know, that's a great point. Something you said in there really triggered questions I get a lot from customers. And it's kind of, you know, that assigning a license to a user kind of really explains the conceptualizes the architecture of Windows 365, right? Mm-hmm. A person gets a license and then that turns into a cloud PC, right? So a cloud PC is assigned to a person.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So there's no multi-session. There's no right one-to-one. I get a user gets a cloud PC. That is mine. Now, to Andre's point, that person can have more than one license and more than one computer, but that cloud PC is not shared with anyone, right? It is yours, or it's the person who gets that license.
That's a great point, Curtis. It's actually important to mention that. It's easy for us to forget about that because we kind of live with that day to day, but it's important to emphasize that and to make sure it's clear about one-on-one assignment, single session kind of thing. So thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. We have two more questions before we wrap things up today. So the next one is a great question about a super fundamental part of our service. And it's how are updates all handled for cloud PCs? Are they, as admins for customers, still in control? Are the updates not applied until we say so? Are they forced? So addressing, Windows updates and app updates. So Curtis, I'll hand it over to you here. And then I know any one of us could add any color after you're good.
Yeah. Short answer, yes. The longer answer is you can manage updates however you want. Conceptually, you can manage a cloud PC like any physical device, right? So if you use Intune, right, you can apply the same policies, right? Use Windows update rings to control the how and the when and the what and the deferral periods. Those exact same controls. If you use Configuration Manager, and by the way, everyone, I forgot what the official name is, so I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. Is it Microsoft Configuration Manager? You can use the exact same process. So from a management perspective, you can use what you can. Yes, you can say yes, right? Managing cloud PCs and managing physical devices are conceptually the same.
So basically, Curtis, you're saying we can control Windows updates in a cloud PC. Any other update mechanism is applicable to cloud PC, same as the physical devices, you said.
Yep, exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah, and the same applies to apps, generally speaking. So you can handle the app updates as well as the Windows updates the same way that you would do so, whether you prefer Intune or not. You can also do image management here as well. But.
I've gotten questions from customers that say, hey, I manage my physical devices with Config Manager. Can I do that with cloud PCs? I'm like, sure. You just have to make that connection, right? And with Configuration Manager, we have co-management, we have cloud management gateways that facilitate that. I've also gotten questions, hey, I use insert third-party product here. And they say, can I use that with cloud PCs? The answer is yes. Probably, right? Intune is the only MDM solution that can be used to manage cloud PCs. If you've got an on-prem, a non-MDM solution, Config Manager, there's a ton of third parties. Again, the answer is yes. You need to have that third-party software deployment tool installed on the machine or on the cloud PC. Everything else can be handled by that solution. The caveat there, make sure your on-prem, your third-party, app deployment solution. Hopefully you've extended the infrastructure into the cloud, or else your cloud PCs are going back on-prem to get software, and then it's going to be a lot of network traffic for your on-prem environment to manage your cloud environment. So it's kind of a yes and asterisk there.
Fair, yeah, depending on how efficient that is sounding network traffic-wise for you. And so, yeah, now that we talked about updates, we have one last question here, and that is, can you connect Windows 365 cloud PCs to servers hosted in Azure, for example, a SQL server or a file server?
So I could take that. So the answer is yes, and that kind of connects the dots between what Femi was mentioning earlier, right? You can create an Azure virtual network and define how you connect your cloud PCs using the Azure Network Connection. And think of your Azure Virtual Network like an extension of your environment, of your on-prem network. So you can control the routing. This virtual network has the ability to talk to that one. So if you've got a SQL server in Azure that's connected to an Azure Virtual Network, not a problem. You just need to connect those dots. But the general answer is yes, and you are in control of how your cloud PCs connect, right? Either using the Microsoft hosted network or using your own network that you can control how egress works, how routing works, and you've got a lot of options there.
Awesome, perfect. Well, that is all we have for today. So really excited that we got to talk about some really awesome updates in the world of network connections and Citrix and VMware, and throw in a little bit of end user announcements there, and answer all of your questions for today. So you can see the link for our documentation here again, and we thank you all so much for joining us for this March 2023 AMA for Windows 365. We hope you enjoyed yourself and continue to enjoy our service, and have a great rest of your week.
So long.
Bye.
Thank you all for joining us.